Salute, 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 Barker Raiders, salute everybody. Welcome back to the IBFP, and we're time to get these fanboys right. It's time. It's time. And you know what? We got a few people that's wanting to come in today that want to debate Canelo Alvarez. So we got John want to debate Canelo Alvarez. We got everybody want to talk about the pay-per-view numbers. The gate numbers with Canelo. Is he losing popularity? What is he? Is he good? Is he not? These guys are making all these things. So it's time for us to debunk all of this nonsense and get back to the absolute, unfiltered, and unbiased truth. Because, the one thing that they can do is they can create lies and narratives, but they can't stop the absolute truth. This is why these same guys are living in their mama's house while she walks around in fuzzy slippers, and these guys got to keep the volume down. They got to keep the volume down. So don't wake up your mama because they're out here panhandling. That's why they're fanboying for Charlo, Wilder, the PBC, Errol Spence. We got to separate fact from fiction because they say Canelo's not a star. Is Gervonta Tank Davis a star? This is the same Tank Davis that's never been on a pay-per-view except on the undercard? That Tank Davis? These guys got to tell the truth. H Money, Mr. The Zone in the building. Salute to you, brother, in BBC. This dude is the truth. He's undefeated in debates. Salute, my brother. Gun Rights Mafia, salute, my brother. That's a true king. These dudes about to get kicked out of their mama house because they don't want to smoke. Because they don't want to smoke. Because they don't want to smoke. But we're going to give them all the smoke that they want, and they want to say Canelo's losing popularity. Let's get it going. Salute D. Jefferson. We got D. Jefferson in the building. D, salute. Talk to my brother.
What's up, bro? What's good with you, nigga? How you feeling today? I see you hyped,
man,
bro.
I'm feeling fantastic, and we finna slap some fanboys down today because you know what? I'm not in the mood for all these lies. Hopefully, we'll get my brother Andrew Tucker on this, and we just ready to go off, Andrew, I've already sent you the link, my brother. Hop on whenever you can. Let's get it going. And you know what? We're also waiting on John. I know John said, that he wanted to step on here and debate Canelo Alvarez, a topic. So let's go ahead and just debate Canelo, John. I'm waiting on you, John. You're going to get all – D's going to moderate. And we're going to get to the unbiased truth of it all. Because John was on the UGC live stream the other day saying, salute, John. D, send John the link, my brother.
John who?
John D, he's right there in the chat. Go ahead and put the link in the chat for me.
All right.
Francisco Moreno. Salute, my brother.
Oh, I'm asking.
Salute.
Oh, damn. I'm not even on my computer. Hold on for a second.
I see you. Boxing
I'm
Monster.
I'm on my phone.
Oh, don't worry. I got you.
Heard me, Nuke? Yeah, I'm on my phone.
John. Salute. Hold on. Let's just go to get this debate started ASAP. Because John's here, and let's debate. I want to give everybody an equal opportunity to talk. And I want to make sure that everybody can talk. So hold on 1 second. Let me go ahead and send this link out. Because we can't have anything that goes the wrong way. We got to be honest about it, and we got to tell the truth. If we don't do nothing else, that's what we're going to do today. And we don't like to send an open link. But if you got an email, John, put it in the chat. Let us send you the link.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. You have every Tom, Dick, and Harry trying to jump on your show.
Yeah, everybody will be trying to jump on.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, we're gonna make it work. You're
gonna get that smoke. Be patient.
D, what do you think about this new narrative they're coming out with Canelo, talking about he's not popular and he's not because of the gate sales, and they say, oh, he didn't sell $30 million dollars worth of tickets this last time at the gate. He only sold 8. This is a new media
Yep,
narrative.
it's all hate. It's all hate, bro. That's all it is, man. You know, they're gonna have to find a reason to keep hating that man.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
These guys ain't ready.
They're not ready, and it's like when you. It's just like you say. Give us some facts, man. Give us some facts because no one has any facts on this. It's just all hate. It get to the point where you could tell it's blatant. Like, dude, you just hating on the man. You just mad because your favorite fighter is not achieving the same things that this man is achieving. And we know who they are. Just that simple.
And I'm gonna tell you this. Salute the boxing monster, and he makes a great point. He said, "What did Wilder's last fight do at the gate? It sucked. But where's that video at?" See, that's the problem. These dudes don't keep that same energy. They do not keep that same energy. That's why we're here to debunk bias ego. You know what? Because bias ego is the guy that's feeding all the casuals, all this rhetoric. And this is the same dude staying at his mama's house where she walks around in fuzzy slippers. Come on now, we're not gonna play with this dude. You at your mama's house in fuzzy slippers, hoping she don't go up on the rent. But you want to talk about pay-per-view numbers. You want to talk about sales at the gate. Come on now.
I know.
This dude gonna be back working at McDonald's if he don't step up. John Dealey, salute. I respect you being here, my brother, for the debate. I respect that tremendously, and you'll absolutely get your chance to talk. Salute to Wasi Rahman in the building. I gotta respect Wasi. Ruby, salute. Arturo, salute. JA, salute. Salute everybody for being here. Let's go ahead and get this debate started. D, can you moderate and put time on the clock? 90 seconds for me, for John, and it's just gonna be a friendly, upbeat debate. No interruptions, respectful as always.
I got you.
All right, John, how are you doing today, my brother?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. And I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you making the time.
Thank you.
And John, so we was having some issues, with the Canelo thing that we really wanted to debate. So, do you want to kind of just go back through your initial talking points about Canelo Alvarez, the rehydration clause with Sergey Kovalev, and how you feel about it?
Yeah, just 1 minute. So, it isn't specifically the Kovalev fight. It's the accumulation of catch weights, rehydration clauses that I feel have taken away from Canelo's achievements in the long term. And it's unfortunate. And the point I was actually trying to make was this A-side behavior is killing boxing. And Canelo isn't the only one. And he's not the first. But people wouldn't have anything to say if he hadn't have put the rehydration clause in. That's really what I was trying to say on UGC, but I wasn't really given the opportunity to say that. My main point is, why did he put it in there? It wasn't a requirement by any of the governing bodies. So I think he could have won without it quite comfortably. So why do it? That was my point.
And that's a good point, John. And I respect for you, for coming on here and speaking on that. And I'll put it like this: do you think it takes anything away from Canelo Alvarez's legacy, the fact that there is a rehydration clause in this fight?
When you stack it up against all the other issues, it has an accumulative effect. So I think it does take away from his legacy. I think it takes away from Sugar Ray Leonard's legacy the way that he won the light heavyweight title against Lalande. I think all of the catch weights in Floyd's career take away from his legacy. If you want to talk about the first 5-weight world champion, yeah, Sugar Ray Leonard has it, but really Tommy Hearns did it properly.
Okay.
And A-side behavior is bad for boxing. It's one of the reasons that boxing is less popular than it should be.
All right. And so, in D, put 90 seconds on the clock for me. We'll start the debate because, I don't want to rant too long. I just want to kind of speak my piece and make sure everybody gets a turn to speak. You still there, D?
I got you.
All right. The first thing is, and I got to give it salute to Mr. IOTBA in the building. Salute to you. Peace and pugilism, boxing Logics United. Boxing Logics United, I may need you to get on the call because I noticed that you had a comment about Canelo Alvarez. And, I wanted to be sure about that one. And when you were saying that it was he got a gift decision against Danny Jacobs. And I want to clear that up right away, my brother. And I want to give you the chance to talk and not be in the chat and actually jump on the live as well. But to answer John's point is, he said the A-side behavior it takes away from boxing is the reason why boxing isn't where it needs to be. And I disagree 100%, John, because A-side behavior is common in boxing. Even at the highest points in boxing, A-side behavior happens. Look at the Manny Pacquiao-Floyd Mayweather fight. There was all kinds of A-side behavior from Floyd Mayweather in that particular negotiations in the fight. But we have to be honest and unbiased. That was the highest grossing boxing event in history. And A-side behavior had no factor in it. What hurt boxing is the fact that Floyd Mayweather was so defensive and put on a boring display. But if you know boxing, you understand that's the way he fights. So we have to be honest about that. The second thing that I'm going to say in regards to this is, as far as you say that it may take away from his legacy or taint it, we can't say that at all. And the reason why we can't say that is because what makes Sergey Kovalev such a great challenge for Canelo, what makes him such a great name on his resume is that he's been world champion before. And the fact that he got a world champion through a rehydration clause. He got it through a rehydration clause. So how can it take away when he got the title the same way that he fought him? And then Sergey Kovalev never comes in above weight, above that point. Sergey Kovalev against Ismail, he rehydrated to 181 pounds. But against Canelo Alvarez, he was giving 185 pounds. So how it doesn't matter? It does matter. Because at the end of the day, Canelo is fighting the guy at the same weights that he normally fights at.
Okay, is that time for me to come in?
All right. It's on you, John. Get ready to reset the clock.
Well, that's cool. So I said it has an accumulative effect. So let's go back to how he first won his first world title against Matthew Hatton. That was a catch weight of 150 pounds to win a 154-pound title. Canelo came in at 151 pounds. Normally when you come in overweight, you can't fight for a title. It's not on the line. But Canelo was afforded that belt by the WBC. He's then gone on to fight catchweights against Angulu, Lara, Kirkland, Cotto, and Khan. But then when he fought Liam Smith, he went back down a pound. So what I'm saying is the reason that people have a dislike for the things that Canelo does is because he manipulates the playing field to suit him. There was no requirement on the fight to have a 185-pound rehydration clause. No governing body said that was required. So you still haven't answered why Canelo put it into the contract. And I think it was a mistake because I think Canelo probably would have beaten Kovalev anyway. And that's why his detractors have got the opportunity to cast dispersions over this performance. I'm not particularly a Canelo fan.
Yep.
Okay, so let me just debunk some of that narrative right there. So in Canelo Alvarez's biggest fights, and you say that it's hurt his legacy. If it's hurt his legacy, was there any type of catch weight or rehydration clause in the Triple G fight? Was there any kind of catch weight or rehydration clause that he put in against Floyd? No, he didn't. Floyd put it in against him. So his biggest fights that he's ever had, there was no clauses. And a rehydration clause is not the same as a catch weight. So you can't compare any of those other fights to what he did with Kovalev because he moved up a great deal. It really was irrelevant. So why they put it in is because they're their A side. It really had no bearing because Sergey Kovalev never comes in heavy anyway. Canelo Alvarez moving up 15 pounds is still an amazing accomplishment, whether a sanctioning body like the IBF puts it in or not. It's for fighters' safety. That's what they do. That's what they do. So at the end of the day, when you see him come in at 185 against Pascal, I don't hear any complaints. And if he felt like if he felt like it was going to hurt him or anything like that, then why didn't Sergey Kovalev come in over the weight? Because Danny Jacobs did. He accepted the fine and still got beat. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. We argue with facts and logic. And if we're arguing with facts and logic, and you say Canelo Alvarez's biggest fight, Kovalev, no catch weight, because the catch weight is draining a fighter. Floyd Mayweather drained a guy that's inexperienced in Canelo Alvarez when they first fight. Triple G, Canelo didn't drain Triple G. See, we have to be honest and unbiased when we analyze it. And so that can't hurt his legacy.
Okay, well, I still don't think you've answered my question, which was, if there's no advantage to Canelo in putting in a catch weight, why has he done it? I'm not supporting Floyd. I mean a rehydration clause, sorry. I'm not supporting Floyd in putting in a catch weight to Canelo. I'm not supporting Manny Pacquiao when he put in a catch weight to Cotto. Also, I think you need to understand that rehydration clauses do drain fighters as well. So when Canelo fought Miguel Cotto, not only was there a catch weight, there was a rehydration clause that didn't apply to Canelo. It only applied to Cotto. So Cotto couldn't come in any higher than 167 pounds, whereas Canelo could come in at any weight that he chose. Against Khan, there was a rehydration clause of 175 pounds, I think. Is it? Yeah. There was a rehydration clause of 175 pounds against Khan, both ways. Canelo came in at 176 pounds. If the rehydration clause doesn't have an impact on a fighter's performance, then why would you have it in there? It does have an impact on a fighter's performance because he has to stay dehydrated after the weigh-in overnight, and it limits his recuperation process from making weight. That's why it's put in there. You only put these things in if it gives you an advantage.
Time.
Okay, and so this is again a false narrative. So we have to just debunk that 100%. A catch weight and a rehydration clause are two different things. Two different things. A catch weight is what's draining a fighter from the weight that they fight at, that they're comfortable at. You have to be honest and unbiased. And as far as that goes, when you look at the situation, Sergey Kovalev was fighting at the same weight he always fights at. So it's irrelevant. The point you're making that, oh, then why was it there? That's irrelevant if he's fighting at literally the same weight that he fought John Pascal at. What difference does it make? The same weight that he fought Bernard Hopkins at. What difference does it make? It's pointless. But even if you still want to argue that point and say it, you look at it to make sure that Sergey Kovalev doesn't go outside of character, similar to what Danny Jacobs did. Danny Jacobs said he was a heavyweight against Triple G the night that they fought. A heavyweight. Come on, you have to be honest about it. That's ridiculous. This prevents fighters from fighting in weight classes that they don't belong in. So put it like this. Andre Ward came out and said one of the biggest challenges that we can make in the sport of boxing is the weigh-in process. He said we need to go back to the same day weigh-ins. Why? Because guys are rehydrating up to the point where they don't even belong in the weight class. So would it have been fair for Canelo Alvarez, who's already moving up to 175, to fight a guy that's a heavyweight on the night of the fight and who doesn't normally fight outside of that? See, that's what you're missing, John. That's what you're missing. He's trying to fight on a fair playing field and a guy that's supposed to be fighting at a weight that he's always weighed in, instead of trying to weigh in outside of that.
Okay, I'm going to come back on 2 points you made there. First of all, both catch weights and rehydration clauses drain fighters. They both do. It's not one or the other. That's what both of them do. I agree with Andre Ward. I would prefer same-day weigh-ins. I think you'd have people not manipulating weight. What I was trying to highlight to you was that Canelo has used the rehydration process to manipulate weight and come in a lot heavier than his opponents. One of the examples I gave you was against Khan, where there was a rehydration clause of 160 of 167 pounds. And Canelo broke it and came in higher than the rehydration clause. Canelo did that. Against Cotto, there was a one-way rehydration clause, so only Cotto had to have 167 pounds was the limit that Cotto had to come in at, and Canelo was able to come in at whatever weight he chose at because it wasn't in the contract. So yes, it does make a difference. Canelo is a person who's rehydrated heavier than his opponents and used this for his advantage in the past. Yes, Kovalev may not have been that affected by doing this particular rehydration clause, but it's an accumulative effect. Canelo is always doing something in there to give himself some form of advantage.
Fine.
Okay, John. And so this is where you've officially lost the debate. And let's just go ahead and break it down honestly and objectively. Your entire point is saying that Canelo Alvarez has tainted his legacy by doing an accumulation of things and, you know, playing with the weights, I assume is what you're saying. But you have to understand, you just said out of your own mouth that you agree with Andre Ward that they need to bring back same-day weigh-ins when Canelo Alvarez gifted Sergey Kovalev 10 pounds in a rehydration clause in the next morning, where Sergey Kovalev was able to rehydrate up to 10 pounds that morning and still can rehydrate up until the night of until the fight, which the fight didn't happen until very late in the evening. So at the end of the day, you just killed your whole point. Your whole point is moot because you just agree with what I'm saying. So there should be a weight check on fighters is what you're saying. You just said that. You just agreed with that. What are you talking about? You might as well throw in the towel. You just said, if you think that it's draining a fighter to put in a rehydration clause that gives you 10 pounds plus the rest of the day to rehydrate, but you just said you agree with same-day weigh-ins, and typically a same-day weigh-in would be at the exact specific weight. You don't have any room to be rehydrated. That's what you're missing here, John. You just did it to yourself. You just did it to yourself. You just missed the whole point. You gave in the whole point. By agreeing with what Andre Ward's saying, that's even more draining and difficult on a fighter than it is to come in with an extra 10 pounds the next morning and still have all day to rehydrate. Let's be honest and unbiased. D, cut the clock and give him his chance.
Time.
Okay, well, I'm going to defend both of those points. First of all, the reason that I agree with Andre Ward is because I don't want any of this weight manipulation. So I don't think anybody should be doing weight manipulation. Canelo has a bad reputation for manipulating weights because of things he's done in the past. As for this rehydration clause, I don't think it's the worst thing that he's done. And when he announced that he was going to fight Kovalev at the 475 pounds, I was really pleased because I thought at least finally we're getting in to see something completely level. There was no IBF title on the line, so there's no reason to put in a rehydration clause in this fight. It's about fairness and parity. What you still haven't explained to me why he did it. I believe he did it to gain an advantage over Sergey Kovalev, who hasn't had to do it for a number of years. You said 2 years. As you get older, these things become harder. So would it have made a difference if he hadn't have had the rehydration clause in there to Kovalev? Maybe not. It would have been better, and we wouldn't be having this debate if he hadn't have done it, because then it would have been a straightforward Canelo knockout of Kovalev, and no one would have anything to say. I just want fairness and parity. Canelo isn't the only offender. Canelo's not necessarily the worst offender of doing this, but it hurts him by doing it.
Time.
Okay, John. And, you know, I feel like you officially lost the debate on the last one, but I respect you tremendously, John, for having the courage to get on here. So I'm just going to body your last point, and we can just pretty much move on. And so let's be honest, John, and let's be unbiased about it. You said you don't want weight manipulation. How is it weight manipulation when you just said that you agree with the same-day weigh-in? Canelo gave him 10 pounds. I think you're missing that point. He gave him 10 pounds in the morning of the weigh-in, and then he still has the rest of the day. If he weighed in at 175 on the day of the fight, that's when he would have been not as hydrated as he could have been. He's already got 10 plus pounds plus the rest of the day to go up. I think you're not missing that point. You're saying I'm not answering your question as why did he put it in? Why does it matter? It's pointless because at the end of the day, why does it matter if it didn't affect him? So you're saying that Canelo gained an unfair advantage against Kovalev. You said he did it to gain an unfair advantage. Did Kovalev and Pascal, because he came into the fight 185 similar to what he did with Pascal and Bernard Hopkins. So if he came in the same way, what advantage Canelo Alvarez have that Pascal and Hopkins didn't? Exactly. There was no advantage. It's the same. It is the same. It is the same. So if he's fighting the other 175s at the same weight that he fought Canelo, what advantage did he have? None. None. That's it. None. Give him his turn, D.
All right, I'm gonna reset the time.
All right.
Go ahead, John.
You're still just ignoring the question, right? So the simple question is, if it had no benefit to Canelo, Canelo puts it in the contract, why would he do that? There's no benefit to him. Does it make a big difference to his win over Kovalev? I don't really think it does. And I am consistent in what I'm saying. I don't like fighters trying to gain an advantage by manipulating the weights. And I think same-day weigh-ins would get rid of that. Potentially, Kovalev never would have been a light heavyweight if he had a same-day weigh-in. There's probably a lot of fighters who wouldn't be fighting at the weights that they fight at currently if we had same-day weigh-ins. I'm not really picking on one particular fighter. I'm saying these A-side tactics hurt Canelo's legacy. Is he the best middleweight currently? Probably. Do I think he'd beat Triple G in a rematch? Probably. Is he the best 168 pounder? We don't know. Is he the best 175 pounder? We don't know. I don't need Canelo to go and fight Beterbiev to prove anything. What he's done is a good achievement. Unfortunately, he put in stipulations that if he hadn't put in, no one would have anything to say. So it would have been better if he didn't do this. That is my point.
Time.
Okay, and so this will be the last rebuttal, and then we'll pretty much end it. And I'll give John one last opportunity to say anything he wanted to say as well. And I'll just read Junior Moreno's comment. He said, Canelo came up 2 weight classes to make it fair. Why would he let Kovalev come in weighing damn near 200 pounds? And that pretty much reiterated what I've already stated earlier. And what I said earlier is, he should be fighting the same weight that he fights everybody else. If Sergey Kovalev is fighting Pascal at 185, and when he's coming into the ring about 185, he's coming into the ring about 185 against Bernard Hopkins, why wouldn't you do the same thing with Canelo Alvarez? Why would you try to gain an unfair advantage on a guy who's already moving up multiple weight classes? And how could that, and you say, you know, if there was no rehydration clause, then, you know, no one would have anything to say. That's where you're wrong, John. People are always going to have something to say. You know why people are always going to have something to say? Because before the fight, they were saying Kovalev was too old. Before the fight, they were saying that he was a cherry. Before the fight, everybody has an excuse. Then after the fight, the rehydration clause is a factor when we've already seen that it was never a factor in any of his other fights. So why would it be a factor in this one? Your point doesn't make any sense. Give him his time, D. Give him his time. Go, John.
Okay. Well, I'm still going to stick with what I'm saying. Canelo's only put it in there to gain some form of advantage. Now, the point that you're making, right? When this news broke, I was in a live stream chat in the UK discussing this topic before the fight. When we found out that there was a rehydration clause, I made the point that you made. I made the point that Kovalev is used to doing this, and hopefully it won't make a difference. You're missing everything that I'm saying. I'm saying A-side tactics are hurting Canelo. They're hurting boxing because they are giving people the opportunity to cast dispersions over what he's doing. Yes, Kovalev isn't necessarily the strongest 175-pound champion, but it's still a good achievement beating him. If he did it with no stipulations in there because the IBF title wasn't on the line, he would probably still have detractors saying he chose Kovalev at the right time, but he probably did choose him at the right time. It doesn't stop it being a good fight. It doesn't stop Kovalev from being a good champion. Kovalev just beat a good challenger in Yard and avenged the loss against Alvarez in a really good fashion. Is Kovalev the best Kovalev that he's ever been? Probably not. Is it a good achievement for a middleweight to beat Kovalev? Yes, it is.
Time.
Okay, and so I hate to do this to you, John. I really do, but this is what we call in the United States, you know, catching a body. And catching a body is like pretty much just getting rid of somebody, you know, doing them really bad, you know, getting rid of them. And so this is how we're going to do it. You literally just agreed with my entire point when you said you were on the UK live chat when this happened, and you said exactly what I said. So you initially agreed with everything I'm saying. Then you come back and said, oh, well, you know, you told me on this chat that, oh, it was about being hydrated. You know, we need to make sure that he's hydrated. I explained to you why he was being hydrated, because he's coming in at a weight that's 10 pounds more than what his weigh-in amount is, and that he's fully hydrated coming in, and he's fighting at the same weight that he normally fights. So then you move the goalpost again and say, well, I agree with Andre Ward with same-day weigh-ins, which would make him even more dehydrated if that's what you're saying. And then you come back again and say, well, it's really the A-side tactics that you have a problem with. You're jumping all over the place. Once is A-side tactics, two is being hydrated, and now you're saying you agree with Andre Ward and you agree with my point. You keep toggling back and forth, John. Let's be honest. We both know I'm right. We both know the truth. And the truth is that Canelo Alvarez and Sergey Kovalev fought at the same weight that Kovalev normally fights at, and he simply got knocked out by the better man, period. This doesn't taint his legacy. This doesn't taint what he does. And if you don't like Canelo, you don't like A-side tactics, there was no real A-side tactics in him, because he fought him the same way he fought Pascal, the same way he fought Hopkins. But you're not on here crying about Pascal or Hopkins because you don't care about them. You care about Canelo because he's the face of boxing, and you simply do not like him because your facts align with mine. But let's move on. I appreciate you coming on, John.
Okay, if you feel that I've been inconsistent, that's fine. I feel I've been consistent. I don't actually think you listened to what I've said, but that's all right. If you feel you need the victory, that's okay. And if you want to end it there, that's fine with me. I don't think you really get what I'm trying to say, but it's okay.
And I appreciate you coming on, John. And I don't think, and to be honest with you, and this, I'll say this as respectfully as I can, I don't think you get what you're trying to say, because you came. I do get what I'm trying to say. John, please. When I give you the floor, I don't interrupt you. You don't agree with what you're trying to say, because if you did, you don't even know what you're trying to say. You said you agree with my point. Then you turned around and said with Andre Ward, you agree with his point. Then you turn around and say, well, it's A-side tactics that you have a problem with. I don't think you really understand where you agree with and where you don't. Because when I educate and I break down the situation that this is the same weight that he fights at literally each and every time, but with Canelo, it's a problem. Because it has to be something deeper. Because if it's with Canelo, it's a problem, but you don't have a problem when he fights Hopkins that way. You don't have a problem when he fights Pascal that way. But when he fights Canelo Alvarez, it's a problem. That's not right. There's something deeper. Somebody's feelings is involved. But let's just be honest. But John, I appreciate you coming in. You want to say one final word and then we're going to move on?
Yeah, okay. I'll just say it like this, right? It's about fairness and a level playing field. So if you set up rules, those are the rules that everybody adheres to. Yeah? So normally a governing body of a sport sets and determines the rules. Unfortunately, in boxing, the fighter with the biggest name who commands the highest purse sets the rules. Yeah? I don't think the Kovalev rehydration clause is the worst infraction that Canelo has done in this case. I don't think you answered the question as to why he did it, because he only did it to gain an advantage. It's not the worst thing he's done. I think the worst thing he did is probably put in a one-way rehydration clause in on Miguel Cotto. That's probably the worst one that he's done. Also, Canelo's been subjected to it himself, and it's the overall A-side tactics that I don't like. I would prefer it if there was a governing body who set all the criteria for the fights and the fighters didn't do it. I would prefer it if there were same-day weigh-ins, because you wouldn't get all this weight manipulation. Yeah, would Kovalev be at a greater disadvantage if there was a same-day weigh-in? Yeah, he probably would. But then at least we would get all fighters fighting at their natural weights, and we wouldn't be having these debates. It would be better if there was a governing body setting the rules that everybody adhered to, not the fighter with the biggest name who commands the money determining the rules of the fight. And I'm against all fighters doing it. Sugar Ray Leonard doing it. I'm against Floyd doing it. I'm against Manny Pacquiao doing it. Lots of people have done it, and I wish it would stop. That's my point. Canelo isn't the worst offender. Don't hate Canelo. I can give him credit. I think he's probably the best middleweight. The rest of it is yet to be proved, and it was a good achievement beating Kovalev. The A-side tactics undermine his legacy.
I appreciate that, John, and thanks so much for coming on, my brother. I appreciate you for coming on and debating. I appreciate it, John. You brought a lot of great points. I appreciate what you're saying. Thank you so much, John. And, you know, I always like to give everybody a fair fight. Everybody get to come on and say what they want to say. But his argument would have been exactly had some type of substance to it had he not kept backtracking. Because 1 minute he wants to change an overall bout. Well, it's not Canelo. It's boxing as a whole. It's Floyd. It's Manny. It's everybody. So, I want a Corona and to be on the beach. But, if you like boxing, you understand that A-sides dictate things in the sport of boxing. Then you need to find another sport. That's really what it is. If you literally understand the sport of boxing, you understand that this happens in the sport of boxing. So if you have a problem with Canelo, you have a problem with Manny Pacquiao. If you have a problem with Manny Pacquiao, you have a problem with Floyd Mayweather. You have to be honest and unbiased, because all of these guys use catch weights in a rehydration clause, fighting a guy at the same weight that he normally fights at. What are we arguing here? Let's be honest and unbiased. But let's bring in my brother, the absolute truth, Andrew Tucker, and welcome to Andrew Tucker World. This man knows his boxing. This man knows the heavyweight division. We got Andy Ruiz Jr., I believe in 4 weeks, facing Anthony Joshua, which is going to be the biggest fight in the heavyweight division, bigger than Waldo Ortiz. Waldo Ortiz needs to be on an undercard somewhere, not on pay-per-view. If we're telling the truth, they're going to do 25 buys in a Popeye's chicken sandwich. That's what they're going to do if we going to tell the truth. Welcome, Andrew Tucker. The floor is yours.
What's going on, Andrew? Man? Can y'all hear? What's going on, my brothers? D. Jefferson, my brother Nuke, IBFP. What's going on, my brothers? Hey, can y'all hear me real good?
Yeah, we can hear you good.
Yes, sir.
Man, all I got to say is, man, I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Before I get on that topic, though, when of these guys are going to start giving Canelo his credit, man. I did a video about this. When of these guys are going to start giving Canelo his credit? I mean, like, honestly, though, bro, look what the man has done in the sport of boxing. They still don't give this man his credit. This man moved up 2 weight classes. I'm talking about from 160 past 168 to 175 to fight a very strong, powerful light heavyweight. And I say strong, powerful light heavyweight because you look at what Sergey Kovalev was able to do to Anthony Yarde, okay? And people don't know about nothing about boxing if they're saying that Anthony Yarde was a bomb, that he didn't have any skills, he needed to be tested, he wasn't a skilled fighter with punching power. Anthony Yarde was a beast. You know what I'm saying? The thing is that Sergey Kovalev have experience. Sergey Kovalev is also a dangerous, skilled light heavyweight. And honestly, I favored Anthony Yarde winning the fight, but Sergey Kovalev surprised the hell out of me when he defeated Anthony Yarde. I knew it was going to be a good fight. I knew it was going to be competitive, but at the same time, like I said in the video, Sergey Kovalev is still dangerous. He's still a hard hitting machine. He can box. He's a skilled elite light heavyweight. He's a problem at light heavyweight. So the fact that Canelo Alvarez moved up 2 weight classes to fight the bigger, stronger guy, and was able to knock him out, you got to give him credit. That's a big accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? That's a really big accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? For a fighter like Canelo Alvarez, he's skilled. Canelo also has power. Like I said it before, 175 is really nothing to Canelo, because sometimes Canelo walk around weight be like 179, 78, sometimes 180, 185, his walk around weight, when he's not really, training or in training camp or, working out or anything of the nature. I'm just talking about living the life. Canelo walking around about 180, close to 190 sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So it's the 175 is nothing for Canelo, but at the same time, Sergey Kovalev is the bigger, stronger guy. We talking about a light heavyweight. So we already know on that night he wasn't weighing 175. He was really weighing about 190, close to 200 pounds. If you want to be honest.
And hold up, Andrew. And even at the second day rehydration clause weigh-in, he was still at 185. He was still 10 pounds heavier than he was just at the initial weigh-in. And then he still had the rest of the day. Remember, the fight didn't go on until past midnight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So, like at the same time,
Yeah.
so you got to remember he's big. He's the bigger, just stronger guy. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to look at what height and weight. Height compared to weight, he was the bigger guy all around. Canelo had size; he was a big guy too, but he wasn't bigger than Sergey Kovalev. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he was able to stop Sergey Kovalev it just shows the haters and the doubters how dangerous Canelo Alvarez is, and at the same time, it shows that he just on another level. He's a skilled elite fighter that also has punching power, very strong, and he showed the haters and the doubters that he is a problem. And I said it before, whether you want to agree with me or you disagree with me. All I'm saying is this, is that Canelo will give any fighter from 160 to 175 a problem. Trust me, it's a lot of good fights at 168. I said it in the past video. It's a lot of good fights at 68 for Canelo. It's a lot of good tough fights for Canelo at 75 at light heavyweight.
Let me ask you this real quick, Andrew. Let me ask you this real quick. And I'm going to ask you and D this question, because this is an important question. Okay. If Canelo Alvarez ends up fighting Dimitri Bivol, Callum Smith, or Billy Joe Saunders, does that mean he's ducking Jamal Charlo and Demetrius Andre? Name those three fighters again. I'm sorry. Dimitri Bivol, Callum Smith, or Billy Joe Saunders. If he fights one of those guys, and all three of them have belts, 2 at 168 and 1 at 175. And if he fights any world champion at 168 or 175, is Canelo ducking Demetrius Andre or Jamal Charlo?
No, absolutely not, because those three fights are bigger fights. Trust me, on every level, on all levels, those three fights are bigger fights than a Jamal Charlo and a Demetrius Andre. I'm just being honest. I'm just keeping it real. Those are bigger fights. And the thing is, I like that. I would love to see the Canelo Alvarez fight against a very talented, skilled fighter like Demetrius Andre. But honestly, if he was to take on Billy Joe Saunders, Dimitri Bivol, you know what I'm saying? Fighters like that, that's going to take him to a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? Because those fighters are a problem. Those fighters are a threat. But I know Canelo also give those fighters a problem. Now, the thing is, I take nothing away from, I'm not saying that Charlo is a bomb, that he can't do this, he can't do that. He can fight, but to me, he is not an elite on the elite level like Canelo. I'm sorry. He's a good fighter, but he's not a great fighter like Canelo. So it'll be a competitive fight. He'll be in the fight if he was to face Canelo, but I believe Canelo would sooner or later break him down. You know what I'm saying? And probably end up stopping him in the late rounds. So I think that a fighter like Dimitri Bivol, I believe that'll be at light heavyweight. Dimitri Bivol, that's a bigger challenge and a bigger threat, a bigger fight than
Let me ask you this, Andrew. He said Dimitri Bivol came out and said that he's willing to move down to 168 and fight Canelo. But if Canelo fights him at 168, people are going to criticize him for him when Canelo hasn't even looked this way. But the guy is talking about fight me at 168. He's desperate for the fight. Does he get credit for beating a Dimitri Bivol even if he fights at 168?
even if Dimitri
Let me
Bivol was
jump in
to
here right
just
quick.
even
Jump in
okay,
real quick.
go
All
ahead,
right,
D,
go
go
ahead, go
ahead,
ahead.
D,
D, go ahead.
No, I
go
just
ahead,
wanted
D.
to say this right quick. Here's the thing. Dimitri Bivol is already a small light heavyweight. He's a smaller light heavyweight. So of course that narrative would start, but the haters do. Anytime Canelo goes to achieve, they bake. But then you have to understand too, Dimitri Bivol said that he's willing to move down to 168. And I'm telling you this, the reason he says that, because he and his camp already knows he'll be okay at 168. He wouldn't have to drain down, because when you look at him compared to the other light heavyweight, he's on the smaller end of that anyway. He's a smaller 175-pound fighter. So,
Hmm.
it wouldn't be as much as bad as people would try to make it seem, as if Canelo's manipulating the weights again. But I wanted to say this too, Nuke. I just didn't, get a chance to jump in. You got that debate there. If I had to judge it, you know what I mean? I would say that you got that debate. I mean, John did pretty well, but
Yeah,
when you start to backtrack and agree on the opponent's points, like you start to give up the debate. You know what I mean? So he has some good points, but
yeah.
again, he didn't really prove, or he didn't really make me feel confident in what he was saying. Like, if you lose confidence in what you're saying yourself, then how is anybody judging the debate going to have confidence in what you're saying? So,
You're
but
absolutely right.
yeah,
And
yeah, that's it.
John's very intelligent. John had some great points. I just think that, at the end of the day, when you start agreeing with all of my points and contradicting your own, how can you win the debate that way? That's just my opinion. I'll leave it to the world to judge.
What is that? What is that? When it's 8-4, it's a majority decision.
That's a majority decision right there,
So,
Andrew.
that debate was a majority decision for my brother IBFP. It was a good debate. Don't get me wrong. He was in it. He was in it. But
He
at the
was
same
in it.
time, he was in it. But at the same time, yeah, the majority decision. My brother clearly outboxed him.
And I'll say this, Andrew, the knockdown made a difference, my brother. The knockdown made a difference. The knockdown made a difference. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I would love to see that fight, man. Honestly, and like my brother D Jefferson was saying, yes, Dimitri Bivol is like the smaller. It's like a smaller, one of the smallest light heavyweights, and so what 168 shouldn't be a problem for him. I mean, if he was to meet Canelo at 168, that shouldn't be a problem. I believe the weight or anything of that nature shouldn't be a problem. Honestly. But we already know it's not going to be a problem for Canelo, because he just last fight was at 175. So, you know what I'm saying? So meet those guys meeting at 168. I believe that's on fair grounds. I believe both fighters will be comfortable, and I believe that it'll be one hell of a fight, entertaining fight, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Both guys are big punchers. Both guys was very skilled fighters, very smart fighters. But honestly, I have to give the advantage to Canelo. But anything can happen, man, when you step in that ring. When
you're,
you have fighters at the level.
you're absolutely right.
Hey,
Oh, go ahead.
hey,
Yeah.
I want to respond to you about this whole duck thing, because
Okay.
I agree with a lot of what Andrew Tucker said, right? But here's something else, man, that these guys got to think about. GGG, Charlo, or Andre are not going to step up and do any of that. They won't. They definitely not going to go up 2 weight classes and defeat any of them. That's number one. They wouldn't even do it. I know Charlo wouldn't do it. He could barely beat 154-pound fighters. So he ain't gonna beat nobody at 175. All right. So I mean, he goes 12 rounds with those guys. So he's not gonna beat nobody at 175. Andre, his chin suspect. So the first time Bevo better be clip him at 175, he's gonna be laid flat on the canvas. And GGG, man, Deverenchenko gave him all he can handle. I mean, so clearly, like, none of these guys are going to be able to achieve, in my opinion, or even attempt to do what Canelo just did. And when you look at the guys at 160, when you look at the guys at 168, I'm pretty much feeling the same thing, because I feel like Jamar Charlo was clout chasing when he called out David Benavidez. You never had any intentions of fighting this guy. you
That
know.
part.
And I
Exactly.
think that David Benavidez would stop Jamal Charlo,
And here's
absolutely stop him. So they're
hold on,
not
D,
even
hold
going to
on real
move
quick,
to
D.
158.
Hold on, D.
Go
Here's my issue that I have
ahead.
with when you look at the fighters in Sergey Deverenchenko. Sergey Deverenchenko gave Triple G all he wanted and some more, and a lot of people said he beat Triple G. My issue with that is people are now saying that Canelo ducked Sergey Deverenchenko. It's just like when you can't find one guy to beat him. It's similar to the Floyd effect. When Floyd was running guys and they couldn't find anybody to beat him, then you start just putting everybody, all these smoke screens up. And so I said, we don't put up smoke screens. We tell the truth. Did not Sergey Deverenchenko lose to Danny Jacobs, the same Danny Jacobs that Canelo Alvarez just beat? This is what I'm saying. People got a short-term memory. So if he just beat Danny, and I understand people say it's a triangle theory. But look at it. Canelo Alvarez is faster than Danny Jacobs. He has better defensive skills than Danny Jacobs. He's not going to take the punishment that Jacobs takes. So if you're looking at it like that, what makes you even think that he would be afraid to fight a guy like Deverenchenko, especially moving up in weight? He's fought some of the
Exactly.
best fighters in the world. He fought Floyd. He fought Lotta. What are you talking about? And you know what? A lot of people don't give Danny Jacobs his credit. I respect Danny. Danny Jacobs fought 4 undefeated fighters in a row before he got the Canelo shot. This man is fearless and he wants all the smoke. And so people look at him and bypass him because he's not popular. That's the problem. But let's go ahead and switch topics real quick to this Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua, man, because these guys got a lot going on, man. And D, you want to kick it off first, and then we'll get to Andrew about the Ruiz Joshua, the rematch.
Yeah, that's what's up. I actually did a video on this. I just didn't. I don't think I published it yet. But let me tell you this, man. For too long, and this was like not too much after the first fight. It's been too long that Joshua's been first and foremost highly focused on this rematch. And a lot of people, with all of the Andy Ruiz begging for money and all of this nonsense going back and forth, a lot of people forget the fact that after this first fight, Anthony Joshua said, I would really like to go get my belts back where I lost them at, which shows you that I think, in my opinion, he was determined to get those belts back then. So I've been following him. I've been looking at training he's doing. You understand? Now, here's something that a lot of people might not understand. Recently took on 2 pretty interesting sparring partners. One in Darren Zora, okay, which is probably going to provide that overhand right attack, which we do understand that Chisora is nowhere near as quick as Andy Ruiz. Just, getting into the reflexes of defending that type of thing. But the most interesting sparring partner he's brought in is Andrew Tabiti. Now, Tabiti is from the cruiserweight, and his hands are lightning quick. See, you're not going to find another heavyweight that's going to be as fast as Andy Ruiz. So I think that his team, their thinking process on this was to go down to a cruiserweight and find some. Now, Tabiti's got super fast hands. I don't know if you guys ever seen him, but Joshua just brought him into the training camp. So this shows you that Anthony Joshua is doing all the things he's probably watching plenty of film study, and he's repairing and fixing what he felt was deficiencies in that first fight.
Who do you favor right now?
And I've been saying this for a long time.
D,
he's going to get his belt
right
back.
now to win that fight?
Joshua is going to get his belt back. Joshua's going to get his belts back, bro. That's like not even a favor. Like Joshua's going to win. Like I'm picking him in my prediction league and everything.
D. Jefferson is picking Anthony Joshua to get the victory over Andy Ruiz Jr. Anybody got a problem with that? Step in the chat. Speak on it, because I'm sure D would love to smoke to debate anybody. Andrew Tucker, let me hear your thoughts on the fight, how everything's going, and your pick for that fight.
I believe that both fighters are training their ass off. Honestly, I believe that both fighters know what they have to do, and know what it takes at this level. You know what I'm saying? So, I know Andy Ruiz Jr. is going to come to fight. I know that he's gonna be ready. I know that Anthony Joshua has the right game plan. and I know he's a very smart fighter. I know he knows what he has to do. Um, we saw in the first 3 rounds of the first fight, we saw that Anthony Joshua had the right game plan that led to a knockdown. You know what I'm saying? People don't give him credit for that. The first 3 rounds of the fight, he was outboxing Andrew Ruiz Jr. And and then he was able to knock him down in the third round. So Anthony Joshua has to go back to that game plan. The fact that he cut weight, and he slimmed down a little bit, is good. Now he's a little faster, but always, a man with fast hand, how to beat speed is great timing. Great timing. Great timing always beats speed. And I always said it about Anthony Joshua. He has great timing. I know Joshua's working on his head movement. He's working on his footwork. He's working on, getting out of the way of punches, just slipping punches and things of that nature. So I know he's working on these things. You know what I'm saying? All those things is important. Head movement, footwork, lateral movement, all of that. All of that is very important. You know what I'm saying? But also working on his timing. You know what I'm saying? Because he always been a good counter puncher slash boxer puncher, and also he can fight on the inside. He can mix his punches up very well. He's also a good brawler when he wants to, especially when he has his opponent hurt, and he's breaking his opponent down before he goes for the finish. He was outboxing his opponent, so we know that he's a good skilled fighter, smart fighter when he wants to be. So I know Anthony Joshua is working and perfecting his skills, and I know that he knows that I gotta stick and move with this guy. I can't I can't go and just try to run over this guy, and just make it an all-out war in the beginning and fight on the inside. I know I have to work that jab. I know I have to, after working to use the jab to set up a 2-punch combination. I have to use the jab to set up a 3-punch combination, whether going to the head or going to the body. You know what I'm saying? Moving his head, moving with his punches, and just being smart. And I know that Anthony Joshua has what it takes to break down a fighter like Andrew Ruiz Jr. I know he has what it takes. And I know that Anthony Joshua is going to be smart the first couple of rounds. You know what I'm saying? And he's going to make the necessary adjustments. And all he has to do is use his reach, hit him from a distance, use his reach, be smart, and break him down. I know he can break Andrew Ruiz Jr. down. I know Andrew Ruiz Jr. has he likes to come forward. He's aggressive, and I know he's going to bring the fight to Anthony Joshua. But Anthony Joshua is fast on his feet, just like you heard David Hayes say. He's fast on his feet, so that's the game plan. Working on being faster on your feet, your footwork. You know what I'm saying? So you can counter this man from different angles and have great timing and be fast doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I believe Anthony Joshua is going to break him down and get him out of there in the later rounds. I say probably 7 or 8, probably 7 or 8, he gets him out of there. You know what I mean? But I believe it's going to be a good fight. I believe Andrew Ruiz Jr. probably have his moments in the fight, but I know that Anthony Joshua is coming this time 100% ready, prepared mentally and physically. No excuses. No concussion. No none of that. No excuses. Not overlooking Andrew Ruiz Jr., not overlooking him. He's ready. He's prepared. He's going to be ready mentally and physically. He's going to be smart, and he's also going to be dominant. So that's my thing. And Anthony Joshua, late round, well, I don't know, probably late round stoppage.
Okay. And so now I got something for D. Then I'm going to go back to you, Andrew. We have Bernie Martinez, and he says Joshua's been dropped 5 times. That's what's in Joshua's head. Anybody that gets dropped that many times, they're going to be thinking about that. So what do you think about that? Do you think that's Andy Ruiz is in Joshua's head, making him doubt because he's been dropped multiple times by Andy Ruiz Jr.? I thought he was dropped 4 times in that fight. Do you think that that's in his head? Do you think that gives Andy Ruiz a head up in this rematch, D?
I think that that is what proves a champion. Those are the type of things that proves a true champion, how you respond off of getting knocked down. I wouldn't be remiss to think that it's not in any fighter's head when they get knocked out the first time like that. But the greats of the past pulled through that. Joe Frazier knocked Ali clean out. I mean, clean out. But then you come back and you take back what you lost. And so for some reason, I just see that. I see that, and Joshua. I see the training he's doing, the focus he has, and just the smarts to his deficiencies. Because some people can sit there and say, well, you have this deficiency and you have that deficiency, and then ego takes over and they don't work on it. But he's toned those muscles down. He's doing extra stamina training. He's doing training for his footwork, his speed, all of these things. His reactions to speed. That's what the whole Tabiti. I think that was real smart getting Tabiti in there because he's a bigger cruiserweight. So he's not as big as Andy Ruiz, but at the same time, he's a bigger guy. He also provides that height stature because they're around the same height. You understand? And he's fast. So I think that he's making all the right moves, man. And I think that grit in him to be one of these champions that gets knocked out, but they come back and they regain what they lost. Like, that's what I see.
Andrew, what do you think? Is Andy Ruiz in his head because of the knockdowns, because of the stoppage win? Is Andy Ruiz Jr. in Joshua's head making him rethink everything? Is Andy Ruiz in his head because of the knockdowns? Because you don't forget being knocked down by a fighter, especially multiple times.
Well, my thing is just I'm gonna piggyback off D, my brother D, man. D pretty much said it all, man. But I'm gonna say this: every great fighter in the history of boxing has taken L's and always came back to prove that they're one of the best, and always came back to prove why they are great fighters. And so the thing is, I know that Anthony Joshua has the heart. I know he has the determination, and I know he's focused. He's determined to win and get his belts back. So I know his mind is on winning. You know what I mean? The thing is, it probably was in his head at first, like, wow, I've been down, and a couple of times in the first fight, you know what I'm saying? And but Anthony Joshua has the mind of a warrior. He has the mind. Once again, I'm gonna say it again. He has the mind of a warrior. You know what I'm saying? And he has the heart of a champion. So the thing is, that's probably has been erased out of his mind. So now what's on his mind is winning. It's getting his belts back and becoming two-time heavyweight champion. That's why he's doing everything in his power to make sure that he's ready and prepared for this fight. And he's doing all the things that he needs to do. He's doing the right thing. Training properly, preparing himself the right way, and he's doing all the things that he needs to do to get his belts back. This man is determined to get his belts back. His mind is focused on, yes, coming to prove to the people, to the haters, to the doubters, to the people that don't like him, people that's against him, you know what I'm saying? People that want to see him lose. He's coming to prove to all of these guys why he's one of the best. He's coming to prove to these guys why he was the unified heavyweight champion. He's coming to prove to the guy, he's coming to prove to these people why he was the number one heavyweight in the heavyweight division, and why he was the biggest draw in the heavyweight division, and why he brought back life to the heavyweight division. And he was the man running the show. Who was talking about these other fighters? Who was talking about these other fighters when Anthony Joshua was doing his thing at heavyweight and capturing these titles?
Now, I'm going to tell you this, Andrew. A lot of people got a lot of problems with what you're saying, so I'm going to just go through them. Primal Pit says Anthony Joshua's a quitter. He quit in that fight. And then you see Junior says AJ has anxiety issues. That's why he had a therapeutic exemptions out in the UK. A lot of people are saying they don't agree with it. They're talking about how determined AJ is. They saying it's not going to make a difference. Andy Ruiz Jr., he's going to be a problem. Anthony Joshua's a quitter. He doesn't have a heart of a champion. D, you want to take that one? I don't know if D is there or
yeah, I'm here. I take that. Now, I don't know who said he doesn't have, but let me ask you this. Long time ago, the man got dropped by Klitschko. Now, when that happens to a lot of fighters, you usually see them just get dusted off heavyweights and the fight's over. Well, how you going to say you don't have the heart of a champion when he showed you the grit way back then? to get up and win that fight. Second, even when you look at this, he got knocked down 4 times. I think to say that he doesn't have, because he still got back up. When you don't have the heart, you just stay down, you give up. How many guys that Lomachenko may quit? So how do you challenge his heart? How do you even make that statement, bro? None of that makes sense. That's why y'all easy work. Y'all just make hating ass statements, bro.
Oh,
I'm telling you, man. The thing is, he got back up. So how many times? And he wanted to continue. When you go over there and you look, and when Anthony Joshua went over there to the corner, the referee waved the fight off, but Anthony Joshua when the ref asked Anthony Joshua, "Do you want to continue?" Anthony Joshua shook his head and said, "Yes." That is the heart of a champion. That is a warrior's mentality. He wanted to continue. The ref waved the fight off on him. Okay? The ref waved the fight off on Anthony Joshua. He wanted to continue. He shook his head and said, "Yes, I want to continue." That's why he looked at the referee as like, "What the hell is you doing? What is you doing?" I wanted to continue. Go back and watch it. It's on tape. It's right there. It's videos out there. Go back and pay attention.
Hold on, Andrew. We got one for you. Luis says Ruiz is ready, training, making the same adjustments. Ruiz is a warrior. This wasn't the one that was knocked down by a 40-year-old Klitschko, an old fighter. Andy Ruiz Jr. is young. What do you want to say to that? And he also, Oz Luna says Joshua can't handle Ruiz's combos. What do you think?
See, the thing is, I gotta give credit to what credit is due. Honestly, Andy Ruiz does have fast hands for a heavyweight. I did a little bit of boxing myself, amateur. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm a big guy, and I still have fast hands. For a big guy. You know what I'm saying? So I know he has fast hands. He can put his punches together. He's not bad. At putting his punches together, and he has fast hands. But at the same time, honestly, when you can have fast hands, but when you got a fighter, what I'm saying, that's real accurate and has great timing, and that's able to pick you apart and take away that hand speed and take away basically what you're doing. Anthony Joshua is that fighter that's smart enough to take away what you are doing. So all Anthony Joshua has to do, hit the key to Anthony Joshua's success, the key to Anthony Joshua winning, and I know Anthony Joshua see it just like a lot of people see it because they know Anthony Joshua is a smart fighter and a skilled fighter. All he has to do is use his reach, work off his jab, along with great movement, work off his jab. And that's going to stop that onslaught that Andy Ruiz Jr. comes with. That's going to stop it. That's going to stop him in his tracks every time. Working that jab. Anthony Joshua has a good jab. He has good timing. He know how to time the jab. He know how to time the right hand. He know how to time the left hook. He know how to time the uppercut. He know how to time the right hook. So at the same time, all Anthony Joshua has to do is be smart, use his reach, use his height, reach, and stop Andy Ruiz Jr. in his tracks. And I know that's the game plan, is to stop this man from coming forward and doing what he wants to do. Anthony Joshua can do it. That's why he cut weight so he can be, and he worked on his footwork so he can be faster on his feet to be able to box circles around Andy Ruiz Jr.
Okay, I got one for you and D, and this comes from Intangible Boxing. And Intangible Boxing says AJ is a robot. His jab ain't nothing. His jab ain't nothing because he's robotic. What do you say about that, D? I think D's back on that chicken sandwich.
AJ, no, but AJ has a good jab. I always hear this robotic nonsense. But I don't think that people are really. I don't get relation with this robotic. The guy's fluent. You give a guy and they act like he's like, let's take a look at his total body of work. Yeah. And I don't see robotic in the way that he put Dominic Brazil down. I don't see robotic in the way he beat damn near anyone that he beat. Like, the guy moves fluently. Also, everybody's acting like it's dominating offensive figure where he does like, wait a minute, people. Let's remember who got knocked down first. Let's remember that. Let's not sit up here and think that Ruiz is just gonna come in there dropping and Anthony Joshua's, and he didn't look so robotic to me when he put Ruiz on it. So again, I don't. You could say that he looks robotic, but what does that mean? Like, he's not robotic. He's actually a medal Olympian. That's another spot that you can't be but so robotic in.
D, I'm gonna have to go to Andrew because Trav told me let you enjoy your Popeye's chicken sandwich that you had to sit in line and fight 3 people for. So we're gonna move to Andrew Tucker. Is Anthony Joshua robotic? And then Intangible Boxing responded again, Andrew. He says AJ is robotic. Ruiz knows how to slip that jab. This will be like Porter Spence if Porter was sharper. What do you think?
Well, the thing is this. All you got to do is pay attention and observe. You got to pay close attention. All you got to do is go back when Andy Ruiz Jr., and it was a close fight. It could have went either way. When Andy Ruiz Jr. fought against Joseph Parker, you know, it was a good fight. You know, I slightly gave that fight to Joseph Parker. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, when you go back and look at that fight, and you compare that fight to when Joseph Parker fought against, and I know style makes fights, and I know some opponents are different. But when you go back and you look at the fight between Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker, did Anthony Joshua look robotic? Then you go back and look at the fight look at the fight against Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Povetkin. Did Anthony Joshua look robotic? Was he that robotic to stop a fighter that's on the level of Alexander Povetkin? A fighter that just beat who? Huey Fury, if I'm not mistaken.
That's absolutely correct.
So the thing is, against certain fighters, you say that he's robotic, you're not paying attention. Because if you saying if a fighter is stiff, can't move that well, you know what I'm saying, is very slow, you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention at all. He wasn't robotic. He had very good timing, was very fast when he fought against Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah.
He took the shot that was able to knock down what's the guy named the IBF champion, the guy that was the IBF champion before Anthony Joshua fought him and took the belt from him.
Was that
Charles Martin?
Yeah.
Charles Martin. You know what I'm saying? That shot he hit Charles Martin with to drop him for the last time was good timing, but it was a very fast punch. So if a guy that's so stiff and robotic, tell me that punch he landed wasn't fast. That was at a fast pace when he hit him with that shot. So that don't look like a robotic fighter to me. You know what I'm saying?
And so Dominique one says you make no sense when you say it's 50-50. And so I don't know what he's talking about, but when he responds, if he responds, we're going to dig into that because I think, honestly, I'm going to give you my take on it. I think it's a 50-50 fight. And the reason why I think it's 50-50 is because I understand that Andy Ruiz Jr., a lot of people are going to look at him and say, hold on. He said because AJ lost. Okay, now I'm going to be honest with you, Dominique. Because AJ lost, that doesn't make it a 50-50 fight. Man, you got to be smoking something because let's just break it down. You look at Anthony Joshua. He has a height and reach advantage. You know he's going to make adjustments. Lost a lot of weight, a lot of muscle, not necessarily weight. And then you look at Andy Ruiz Jr. Andy Ruiz Jr. is still going to be a problem because if he gets in the inside, he's going to cause issues for AJ. We know that. But if AJ uses his jab, fights smart, the way we've seen him fight against Alexander Povetkin, people act like AJ's never used a jab, never boxed, never kept his hands up, and never fought tall. He did that against Alexander Povetkin, and he did it efficiently and stopped him. That's what you would expect because when you have a guy like Andy Ruiz Jr. who's going to constantly bring pressure, I think that could fall to his detriment because if Andy Ruiz Jr. is constantly coming at AJ is going to use his jab and box. What happens when AJ starts countering him mid to later in that fight? Can he take that power late in that fight? Because AJ won't rush in. He's going to keep countering, and we know he has a great jab. We know he has a great counterpuncher. That's going to be a huge problem, and that's why, in my opinion, I think Andy Ruiz Jr. is at a high chance of getting knocked out in a rematch because he's going to keep coming to AJ, and all AJ has to do is counter. Now, AJ could be in trouble if Ruiz constantly keeps getting the inside, but I think the reason why AJ's losing that muscle mass because he knows he has to pick up his speed. He understanding his endurance has to be on point, and he knows he has to fight tall. And so what adjustment Ruiz is making, I have no idea, because if you won the first fight, what adjustments would you make? Why mess with success? Wouldn't you come back the same way and bring that same energy? So anybody saying Ruiz has to make a bunch of adjustments makes no sense to me, because if I'm Ruiz, I'm fighting the same way to see if I can get him again. I don't know. What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that, man. If I'm a Weeze, I wouldn't change up anything. The only thing that I would change up is sharpening up my defense a little bit more better. Because at the same time, you coming forward, you got to make sure your defense is you got to make sure your defense is intact. Because if not, you're gonna get hit. You rushing in. Anthony Joshua is gonna catch you coming in. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, IBFP, he's a very good counterpuncher. So if you rushing in with no great defense or slipping your head or moving your head and coming in straight forward, you're gonna get countered all day.
That's it. That is it. That countering is going to be a problem, and I don't think people understand that. I think Ruiz Joshua's going to be competitive early. He's going to be bringing pressure, and he could win rounds bringing that constant pressure to AJ. The problem with Ruiz is the same reason, and shout out to Punch Code, the same reason why Bob Arum dropped Andy Ruiz from Top Rank, and that reason was because Andy Ruiz didn't have power. This came from Bob Arum, his own promoter. He said he didn't have power. So what happened?
Exactly. Exactly.
It was a temple shot. AJ said he got hit in the back of the head, a punch from the gods. So we got to be honest and unbiased. If it was not a chin shot that put Anthony Joshua on the canvas, Andy Ruiz is not going to put Anthony Joshua on the canvas with a chin shot. It's just not going to happen. Everybody has a puncher's chance, but that's not going to be the shot that get Anthony Joshua down. And if he hits AJ on the chin all fight, AJ's not going anywhere. He's going to have to replicate what he did in the first fight, get AJ to fight small. That's what he's going to have to do. Well, speak on it, Andrew.
Okay.
Well, go ahead. Well, I just kept saying to a lot of people that you got to pay attention what got Joshua into trouble, and it was that temple shot. Now, you made a good you put out where you showed that rabbit punch, but that was post the temple shot. That was after the temple shot. That temple shot is what got him into trouble, and chin shots are a lot different, man. Joshua's chin to me, like he doesn't have a questionable chin. Any fighter get caught clean in the temple like that, I don't care if they got one of those rock solid chins. You catch him clean in the temple like that, you're gonna discombobulate him. You're gonna hurt him, bro. That's a fact. So martial artists they look for hits like that. So that's gonna happen.
Hold on. Primal Pit said, dude, you're crazy. Ruiz got power. Look, every heavyweight has the power to hurt you. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is relative. We're talking about elite level power. Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, the top level Klitschko power. Ruiz does not have that power. He just simply doesn't, because he couldn't. And when you say knockout, he didn't put Anthony Joshua out cold with his eyes closed and laying on the couch. Anthony Joshua was out on his feet. Speak on it, Andrew.
Yeah, exactly. The way he was able to, he threw a cumulative of punches. It wasn't no one punch. You know what I'm saying? It was a cumulative of punches. He was throwing more than one punch. He was throwing like a 2-punch, 3-punch, 4-punch combination. You know what I'm saying? It was a cumulative of punches. It wasn't just one shot that actually put Anthony Joshua down. He doesn't have that one punch knockout power. You know what I'm saying? It's a cumulative. He has like a little power, but he doesn't have that devastating knockout power like Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder, or Derek Chisora. You know what I'm saying? It takes him to throw more than a cumulative of punches to wear you down to get you hurt. And I thought that the shot, I didn't know the shot was in the back of the head, IBFP. I thought the shot that Andrew Ruiz Jr. landed in the middle of the exchanges, well, I thought it was on the temple. I didn't know it was in the back of the head. So now I'm finding something out new.
And see, he did hit him with a temple shot, and even Anthony Joshua came out and said he was hit in the back of the head multiple times.
Wow.
And if you go back and rewatch the fight, there is shots in the back of the head that he got hit with. So we also have to understand temple shots is something that needs to be avoided if you're Anthony Joshua by fighting tall using your jab. But his shots in the back of the head is something that you really have to watch out for. And if you're using your jab and fighting tall, you're not getting hit in the back of the head. That's just not going to happen if you're doing the things the right way. And I agree with everybody, especially You Can Do It, Corky, who's coming out and said it is an accumulation of shots. You know, accumulation of shots can hurt you. Look at Vasil Lomachenko. Doesn't have great power, but his power is effective in accumulation. And that makes sense. But if you cannot get to your opponent because of a jab in the reach, what can your shots do? They can do nothing. So that's why his jab is utmost important. Yes, Andy Ruiz hit him in the temple, but he also hit him in the back of the head. Both of those things are factual. You know, and I can't do it. ADBC said, if you can't see a quitter, you might be one too. So is Anthony Joshua a quitter? Not in my opinion. You know, I think the guy was concussed. Intangible Boxing said AJ has absolutely no head movement. All he has is a variety of guards. What do you think about that, D? Andrew, D?
Yo, I'm still here, bro.
He said
here, brother.
Joshua has no head movement.
The thing is, I think Anthony Joshua can be a little better. I think he's working on head, perfecting his head movement. But he can move his head when he want to move his head. You know, he just don't sit. He don't sit still. Anthony Joshua can actually move when he wants to move, and he can move his head. His head movement is not bad, but his head movement can be better. And I believe he was working on his head movement. If you go look at videos of Anthony Joshua training, I promise you will be amazed, because you will see a guy, a big heavyweight, that can actually move his head and can slip punches. So the thing is, people saying that Anthony Joshua doesn't have head movement, don't know anything about boxing, or don't watch Anthony Joshua train. You got to look at videos, man. It's plenty of videos out there showing you that Anthony Joshua can move his head and can slip punches. So I disagree with that. He's not great at moving his head, but he can move his head, and I believe he is starting to perfect his head movement. You know what I'm saying? If you go back and watch, look at the way he's training, look at the way he's moving. So the thing is, saying that he doesn't have head movement, that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? You don't pay attention, or I guess you're not watching how a fighter is training, or looking how he, I guess you just don't know. So you just assuming. So if you don't know, don't say that he doesn't have good head movement, or his head movement is not great, if you're not paying attention to a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Even when he's training.
Now, and I don't know if you checked out that most recent fight against Inoue, and the most recent fight Inoue had with Nonito Donaire, and in which he won that fight. The reports came out, and a lot of biased media keep saying is, that Inoue was exposed. He was exposed by Nonito Donaire. Do you guys think that he was exposed?
Man, let me tell you something.
And this is fans from the LBC saying it's garbage, just to be clear.
Listen, man, I did commentary for that fight, right? First and foremost, we got to understand who Nonito Donaire is. That dude's a future Hall of Famer.
Right.
And he's not at the bottom of the, his game right now. He could actually still fight, but he can retire right now. He's a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. But here's something else that Nonito Donaire is. He's the hardest puncher in that division. Maybe next to Inoue, or you could argue both of them. But these were the hardest two punchers in that division fighting each other in that ring. Monster Inoue showed grit. He showed that he understands he has to make adjustments. He showed that he could be taken into deep waters. He showed that he could fight through adversity, getting that cut, getting that bloody nose. How do you get exposed showing all of that? That's like just that alone. How do you get exposed showing all of that against a Hall of Fame fighter?
Mm-hmm.
Nonito Donaire was not the champion for no reason, bro. So that's one of those narratives that just makes absolutely no sense at all. And it's nothing that you can say to validate that narrative at all. Like, absolutely. I would love to debate anybody, because that is that's easy work right there. Nuke, you already know how I do. That narrative right there is easy work, bro.
Absolutely.
Absolutely ridiculous.
What do you think? Was he exposed?
the thing is this, man.
Hell no, he won't
The,
make
the
that.
the the thing is this, and I keep it real. Y'all know I keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Both of you guys know I keep it real. So the thing is, I know that's really not my division. I don't really focus on it a whole lot, but I am familiar with Nonito Donaire because I've been watching him for for some time. He is a four division world champion, and he's a four division world champion for a reason. You understand? And Nonito Donaire is a problem for any fighter, and he's a very dangerous fighter, very skilled fighter, and I admire what he has done for this. I admire everything he has done in the sport of boxing and accomplished in the sport of boxing. The thing is this: I knew that the young fighter Inoue, if I'm saying his name correctly, Inoue was going to. I knew that it was going to be a test for him. I knew that Nonito Donaire was going to test Inoue. I can't even pronounce the guy's name, but I knew that it was going to be a test for him. Because I know he's a good fighter, man. But when you step up and you fight a fighter on the level of Nonito Donaire, it's going to always be a tough fight. It's especially against a guy that has a lot of experience, a very skilled veteran, and that have seen so many different styles. So of course it was going to be a tough fight for the younger fighter anyway. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that this is a learning experience. And I believe that he's going to take from this fight, and it's going to make him even greater moving on, fighting against other top opposition of any other fighter, in the weight class, in his weight class, or moving up, whatever he decides to do. So I believe this was a learning experience, and he went up against a tough, experienced veteran, man. And I believe this fight really was a big major test for this young fighter. It was a big major test, and it was a good fight, man. It was a good fight. Yeah, he did his thing. He did what he had to do. Nonito Donaire was in the fight, and Nonito Donaire showed me, man, that he still has it at 36 years old. That he still has what it takes, and it's just a fighter that's just man. I'm telling you, a fighter that with a lot of experience, still in great shape, still can compete at the elite level. So, man, much respect to both fighters, man. For these guys, for the guys saying that, he was this young fighter was exposed. No, he wasn't exposed. He just was in there against a skilled veteran elite fighter, man. And that was that gave him, that showed him that it's just another level when you step up and fight against top competition.
I agree. And the only thing I'll add to that is just like when Anthony Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz, a lot of people say, oh, Anthony Joshua's exposed. He's exposed. He's trash. He's this, he's that. And those were emotional reactions from fanboys. Because if we know the truth, you can't expose a guy who's, a unified champion of the world. You can't expose somebody who's fought at the top and highest level, who's beaten better and more acclaimed opponents. You can't expose a guy's not exposed because you have a tough fight. That is boxing. So most of these guys go back to McDonald's and flip a burger because they don't know nothing about boxing. They don't know nothing they're talking about. They need to work the fries and be demoted. They don't know what they're talking about. We just got to be honest and advice. These are the same false narratives in the LDBC. These are the dudes, Andrew, these are the dudes that are turning around here in fist fighting for Popeye's chicken sandwiches. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. Someone making the orders. These dudes is trash. Let's be honest about it. Let's get to the next one. The next one is Gervonta Tank Davis and Tim Bradley going at it. Tim Bradley came out and made a statement, and he said to this effect, he said Gervonta Tank Davis is fighting against Uber drivers, cab drivers, you name it. He ain't fighting nobody. And he said basically he don't know where they found Gamboa. He didn't even know he was still fighting. So he's saying Tank is fighting against trash fighters, Uber drivers, cab drivers, just, tomato cans, beating up on your local grocery clerk. This dude is fighting anybody. He fought my grandma last week. He's fighting anybody he can where he can have an advantage. And then Tank Davis came out and basically saying, it's always an old person hating, talking about Tim Bradley ain't nobody. He had a bad career, and he's trying to brag on what he's doing in his new fight against Gamboa. Is Gervonta Tank Davis fighting anybody relevant?
Okay.
DJ?
No, he's not. And I've been saying this about Tank. I used to be a fan of Tank, but what Floyd and Ellaby and Tank Davis, because I don't give him you get away from those people. You and your career to the ground.
Hold on, come out and come back in, D. Your connection.
All right.
D, just come back in, get out and come back in.
All right. All right.
Yeah, so you know, D was having problems with his connectivity. It's that Metro phone, man. I told you it's that Metro phone. You got to upgrade, my brother. Upgrade. Come on that unbiased side. But I look at Gervonta Tank Davis, and he's probably the king of the tomato can bashers. That's what he is. You know, they hype him up to say he's a pay-per-view star. He's the next Floyd. He's the next this. He's the next that. And at the end of the day, if we're going to be honest and unbiased about it, we got to be real. You know, all Gervonta Tank Davis does is fight Popeye's workers. He's not fighting any real fighters. He's not fighting anybody that can really challenge him. He ducked Tevin Farmer. He ducked Tevin Farmer. Then he moves up in weights and says he wants to fight Loma, but then avoids that fight. Okay. You know, he's not talking about Teofimo. He's not talking about Devin Haney. He's not talking about any of the true fighters that give him some smoke. He want to fight an old Gamboa. Now, when Crawford fought Gamboa, nobody wanted to give him credit for it.
Nobody, man.
Is the bad man of 140.
No, I'm telling you, bro.
Here's the thing, Andrew. Terrence Crawford, the time he fought Gamboa, he fought an undefeated Gamboa. He fought a Gamboa that was on people's pound for pound.
A Gamboa that was stopping every opponent that came in front of him. A Gamboa that was destroying everybody at that weight. The thing is, when Terrence Crawford fought against Gamboa, Gamboa was a threat, was a problem. A lot of people even favored Gamboa to beat Terrence Crawford.
That's right. And a lot of people favorite Victor Postol to beat Terrence Crawford.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it just only showed and proved and people not going to give Terrence Crawford his credit. Still to this day, they don't give him his credit. You know, all the man has done, all what he has accomplished, you know, becoming undisputed at 140, you know what I'm saying? Multiple champion and champion in multiple weight divisions. They don't give this man his credit, saying he hasn't fought anybody. But when Terrence Crawford before Terrence Crawford moved up to 147, did he or did he not call out all of the top 147 pounders in the welterweight division? He called all their asses out. Excuse my language. He called all of those guys out. But was those guys in a rush to fight him? None of those guys were trying to fight him. None of those guys wasn't even calling him out. None of those fighters. They was talking about fighting each other. Yeah, fighting each other. Yeah, I want to fight. I fight him. But nobody wasn't calling out Terrence Crawford. Nobody was trying to get a fight with Terrence Crawford. Why? That's only telling me one thing, IBFP. That's only telling me that they know that Terrence Crawford is a problem. They know that Terrence Crawford is dangerous. They know that Terrence Crawford is a threat. They know that it's a chance that Terrence Crawford can get them in the ring. Even though I believe it'll be a good fight between any one of those top 5 welterweights. Or maybe even top 10. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, they didn't want that smoke because they know that Terrence Crawford is a very skilled, elite, dangerous fighter. They know he's a problem. That's why they wasn't in a rush to fight this man. Even the guy that they called they were saying that was the boogeyman of the division, Earl Spence Jr.
Yes,
I don't have nothing against Earl, but I'm gonna just keep this. I'm gonna keep it real because you know I keep it real. Woo. Earl Spence Jr. He even said it himself. All the fights that he had lined up when him and when Earl Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford bumped heads, Earl Spence Jr. even said it himself that I got fights lined up like Sean Porter, Mikey Garcia. He was naming every other fighter except Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford asked, "Oh, they ain't mentioned me. They ain't said nothing about me." You see what I'm saying? Yeah, because they know there's a chance that you, brother, could get exposed and could get beat before you even rise to become this big star, major star.
And here's the thing with Terrence Crawford and on all these other welterweights. You even see Sean Porter just came out. A lot of people were saying, well, because Kenny Porter said, hey, There might be a fight brewing between Crawford and Porter. We take that fight if we can't get that Spence rematch. Sean Porter then came out and stated, hey, he's looking to fight early 2020, but no mention of Terrence Crawford. And he said after whoever he fights, he's going to be looking to call out Manny Pacquiao. These guys don't want to fight Terrence Crawford. They don't care about his belt. They don't care about his status. They don't care about being pound for pound. They don't care about being great. These guys are scared of Terrence Crawford. These guys don't want the true smoke. Did you see Errol Spence ducked him? Keith Thurman ducked him. And now Sean Porter, again, is looking the other way.
Exactly, bro. And what they told Terrence Crawford. They told Terrence Crawford, you got to get you a belt first. Get you a belt, and then we'll have something to talk about. So what did Terrence Crawford do? He went and got him a belt. He went and fought the only available opponent at 147 for him to fight, which was Jeff Horn, and he got him a belt. The reason why he had to go on to fight Jose Benavidez is because he couldn't get a fight with none of the other top 147 pounders. Facts.
That's right. And you know what's funny is that Danny Garcia, you know, because he's coming out stating that he doesn't know if if Errol Spence is gonna be ready or not for their fight. So he's saying, I'm looking for Manny Pacquiao. Why is nobody looking for Terrence Crawford? Why is nobody looking for this guy? Because everybody can't get Manny. And so what happens when Manny picks nobody and he picks somebody else? What are these guys are still not gonna fight Crawford. He's already offered Danny Garcia. Think about this. He offered Danny Garcia $3 million guaranteed plus pay-per-view upside, which is more than Sean Porter and Errol Spence made guaranteed in their last fight that was on pay-per-view. And so you can't say that Terrence Crawford's not offering these guys everything. And then people say, well, wait a minute. If Crawford was with the PBC, he'd be getting all the big fights. That's what they like to say, Andrew. And I'm finna welcome to my world. And let me welcome them to my world. And this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to break it down. Jerome Booth Ennis is a welterweight for the PBC, and he's saying he can't get a fight in the top 15 with any top 15 welterweight. All the welterweights from the PBC. He's with the PBC. He's with the PBC. So how can he not get a fight? Explain that. See, these guys are delusional. They're
delusional.
All right, and then you see Yordenis Ugas, who's done a great job. In my opinion, I thought he outworked Porter in their fight. I thought he should have got the nod. He didn't. It's okay. We move on. Ugas should be mandatory from Spence, and still they look past him and put Danny Garcia as the mandatory for Errol Spence. We all know that they're trying to pump up Spence, build him into a star, while in the whole time trying to age out Terrence Bud Crawford. Nobody wants to fight him. And Terrence Crawford's going to have to offer somebody a Canelo payday for them to even consider the fight. He's going to have to offer them 5 to 10 to 15 million.
Exactly. And I'm gonna say this, my brother, IBFP, and then I'm gonna say this, man, and then I'm gonna have to go. I gotta go handle some business from my grandmother. But I'm gonna say this, man, before I go. The thing is this. So if Danny Garcia end up being the next opponent for Errol Spence Jr., there is a chance, and some people may agree or they may disagree. There could be a chance that you could possibly see Errol Spence Jr. get stopped for the first time.
Woo!
It's a possibility. Because if you think that Sean Porter gave him a tough time, he's going up against a bigger puncher in Danny Garcia that is a very, very good counter puncher. See, the thing is, style makes fights. Stylistically, it's going to be a good fight. But I believe that Danny Garcia has the size and has the power to set up traps for Errol Spence Jr. I paid close attention to the last fight. So I'm telling you how Danny sees something. That's the reason why Danny stepped in that ring and challenged him, because Danny sees something. And I know I know exactly what it is that Danny sees. And if Danny can most definitely expose that, it could be a bad night, and it can ruin the chances for Errol Spence because he don't want that smoke anyways. But it can ruin the chance for us seeing a fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford. I think it's a chance. It's a chance, a possibility that Danny Garcia could probably ruin the opportunity for Spence versus Crawford, brother. That's what I believe, man. I'm telling you.
I appreciate that, Andrew. Man, you've been fantastic. I hope to have you back again, my brother. because this has been a great experience. You've educated a lot of the casuals. Any sign, if you tell them where to find you, tell them where to subscribe, tell them where to come look at your great work. Let them know, Andrew.
Appreciate it, my brother IBFP. That's my brother from another mother, man. Appreciate you having me on your platform, man. It's been an honor, brother. It's been always an honor, and of course, you already know I'm coming back, brother. You already know I'm coming back. You already know.
Well, Andrew Tucker just got out, so you can find him at Andrew Tucker World on YouTube. The guy's the truth. He speaks a lot of truth. But the problem that I'm having right now is I see Intangible Boxing. I respect you, my brother, but the problem is this sounds like a casual statement. He says Canelo is a clout chaser trying to pull Andre Ward 3 years out of retirement. That's my problem. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? How is he a clout chaser? These are fanboys. Hold on, we'll get back to that. Let me get Andrew back on the line real quick. Andrew, my brother.
Sorry about that, man. That was a little error on my end. But like I was saying, man, you guys can find me at Andrew Tucker World on YouTube. You already know me and my brother, MBBC. We family. You know what I'm saying? You can find me at Andrew Tucker World on YouTube. And also, if you want to hit me up, I don't be on Twitter that much, but you can also find me on Twitter at Andrew Tucker. And also Instagram is you can Andrew Tucker as well. And on Facebook it's Andrew Tucker as well. So if you want to, add me on Facebook, communicate with me, talk, chop it up with me on, through Messenger or Facebook. I'm on Facebook as well, Andrew Tucker. But all I gotta say is, man, I'm gonna say this before I go, IBFP. I appreciate you having me on, man. I this is a great live stream, a great show today, and I will be back. But I'm gonna say this, man. People can say what they want to say. All I'm gonna say is this: even Earl Spence Jr. himself knows that Terrence Bud Crawford is a problem. That's why he don't want that smoke.
Woo! I appreciate you coming through, Andrew. Salute, my brother. We'll do it again.
Yes, my brother. Much love and respect.
Much love and respect. Blessings. Now we got to keep it going. We got to get to this guy who said Canelo Alvarez, Intangible Boxing. And, you got to be honest, Intangible. How is Canelo pulling Andre Ward out of retirement when the first thing is it's the fanboys calling for the fight? They're calling for this fight. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Hold on, Joe. He says Ego said Canelo had the lowest attendance. So let's just get on Ego. First of all, Bias Ego, you're welcome to come to the platform anytime. But the problem is if he can't get some some super chats or donations to get that rent paid, he's going to want to leave. So let's just be honest and unbiased. So a Boxing Monster says Intangible Boxing is known as Peter Pan. Woo! So let's go ahead and get this. Let's go ahead and get this. And I'm not even going to play with these guys. So if Canelo Alvarez is not a superstar, he's not a superstar, then why did Canelo Alvarez make more than Pacquiao and Thurman? See, you got to be honest when you analyze it. So Canelo Alvarez, in the ticket sales that he did with Kovalev, they did 8.1 million. And Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman, which is supposed to be a huge PBC fight, did 6.26 million. You have to be honest and unbiased. And these are days that Canelo don't typically fight. So you got to be real about the situation when you analyze it. You got to be real about what's going on. This dude is a superstar in the face of boxing. Let's not even play this game. These dudes understand and know it. Logical sense, you're absolutely right. Errol Spence went life and death with Sean Porter. Bud Crawford will make Sean Porter look easier than any opponent he's ever dealt with. Let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real about that. Let's be real about that. We're not going to play. Hold on. Wasi's a casual statement. So what did Wasi say? Let's just break it down because we're just going to air everything out. And Canelo ain't clout chasing no one. That don't make no sense. This is what I'm saying. How can you clout chase and you're the biggest star in boxing? How can you clout chasing and you're the biggest star in boxing? You got to understand that Canelo Alvarez has sold millions more than Andre Ward has ever dreamed of selling. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What did we talk? We're talking about Gervonta Tank Davis and this guy. He's doing 500,000 or less on Showtime. Come on now. Let's be honest about it. You're doing 500,000 or less on Showtime. Come on now. Now we got Crackhead says Nuke the Zone has just uploaded a video about AJ. He looks skinny. I think this is what's going to affect AJ during the rematch. AJ has stated that he has great footwork. And he said his footwork is better than Andy Ruiz, but you can't execute footwork if you don't have stamina, endurance, and speed. And the best way to gain that is pulling down those muscles and getting to a better fighting weight. And that's what he's doing. He's going to be a lot more mobile. He's going to be a lot more upright. And he's going to be a better version of himself than the fight we've seen. He's going to be like the Dillian White, the Charles Martin, that type of AJ that fought those type of guys. That's what you should be looking to see. Hey there says people are going to use Spence's car accident as an excuse as to why he loses to Danny Garcia. Now, I think Errol Spence, Danny Garcia is going to be an interesting fight. Some people feel like Garcia is going to get blown out. I don't think any fight for Errol Spence is easy at the welterweight at this point because we've already saw his deficiencies. He's slow and flat-footed just like Danny Garcia is. If anybody thinks that Errol Spence Jr. is some kind of fast fighter, you have not seen him fight Sean Porter. Sean Porter blew him away. So he's just as flat-footed as Danny Garcia. That's going to turn into a boxing match. And he doesn't have the power and the size over Danny Garcia that he had over Mikey. Let's be honest and unbiased. Julio says they hating on Canelo because he's not with the P. I'll tell you what, if Canelo Alvarez was with the PBC, these dudes would be bent over backwards to please him. That's what they'll be doing. Come on now. Come on now. Just like Wasi Rahman says, Spence jaw could be crushed against Danny Garcia. He has a big right hand, and that could be anything. Immortal Fox said, let's find out if Ego is chocolate giddy up. Far as I know, boxing bias Ego could be chocolate giddy up at the rodeo eating a Popeye's chicken sandwich. This dude is trash. He's absolute garbage. Garbage. And the dude promotes a narrative. It's all about hating on Canelo Alvarez, the biggest star in boxing. And it's simply to get views, simply to get donations to help him pay his rent while his mama walk around the house in fuzzy slippers. So let's stop playing. Let's stop playing. You know, and you know what? Junior says Canelo's groupies, Charlo, Andrade, Saunders, and Callum. Woo! And look, none of these guys are fighting anybody real in their next fight. None of these guys. Jamal Charlo's not fighting anybody. Demetrius Andre, Billy Joe Saunders, and Callum Smith, all of these guys are fighting tune-up level opponents in their next fight. But Canelo's fighting unification, moving up in weight. So what are these guys doing? Why is nobody really trying to get the Canelo fight? If you really want Canelo, why don't you go beat another champion? Why don't you go fight another big fight? Show us that you really want that smoke. They chasing nothing but a payday. They chasing a bag. They're trying to get this bread. These guys don't even want it. These guys don't even want it. Let's stop playing because these guys don't want the truth. They don't want to see the truth. They don't want to deal with the truth. We got to be honest about it. Just like JB said, they're all 100-1 on to win the fights that they're in. So I want to see these guys fight the best competition. I want to see these guys fight the best. They want nothing but a paycheck, a lottery ticket. These guys are at home eating ramen noodles right now waiting on Canelo Alvarez. Come on now. Come on now. Let's stop playing. Heaven Knight says, best fight the best is another fraud. Hey, if you can get best fight the best to come over here, I'll debate him anytime, any day. He'll get that smoke. We can get that smoke. I debate any and all LDBC. I debate any and everybody with a false narrative. I'll debate boxing bias ego. I'll debate Dante's bias nation when he get out of the Wendy's drive-thru. I will debate anyone with absolute facts. Anyone. 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 PBC, these guys are nothing but duckers and cowards. These guys don't want the real smoke. These guys don't want the real fighters. We're just going to tell it how it is. We're going to tell it how it is. We're going to be honest. We're going to be unbiased, and we're going to give you that true stuff. Come on now. Come on now. Let's stop playing. The PBC is bad for boxing. These guys are trash. These guys are trash. Now, hold on. Who else wants some smoke? Who else wants some smoke? Come on now. What about Deontay Wilder? Come on now. Deontay Wilder's a clout chaser and a bum. He's fighting tune-up level fighters, old guys in Luis Ortiz. He got to step it up. He got to step it up. Hey there, so I would like to see Danny Jacobs versus Triple G smash all in before they get the Canelo smoke. See, but that's what we call step-up fights. See, a lot of people don't realize Danny Jacobs fought Sergey Deverenchenko and all these other guys. Come on now. Come on now. Salute to Chicago. Salute to Chicago. Chicago's in the building. Tell Dante's Bias Nation to bring me some chili from Wendy's. Salute to Trav. Salute to Trav. Charlo versus Dennis Hogan. Oh my God. I'm sure the ticket prices, I'm sure they're paying you to go to the fight. I'm sure that's what they're doing. They paying you to go to the fight. Charlo and Hogan. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Let's be honest and unbiased. Let's be honest and unbiased. Who's next for Canelo Alvarez? That's hard to say. I think the best move for Canelo is to fight somebody at 168, like a Callum Smith, like a Billy Joe Saunders. Because if you're going to come back down to 160, you got to move down slowly. And the best way to move down is you got to move down to 168. I think that makes the most sense. But knowing Canelo, he might fight anybody. He might fight anybody. He says, so Wilder refused the franchise belt because he can't keep fighting Team Tomato Cans because the next thing is to unify, and that's too risky. Come on now. What do we rank Canelo? Canelo's #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now. The best fights for Canelo is Billy Joe Saunders or Callum Smith. Best fights in the world. Best fights for him right now, moving down in weight, trying to get back to 160. Those are the fights to make. Those are the fights you need to make. Those are the fights that people want to see. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I think everybody want to see Canelo Alvarez fight Charlo and expose this guy. Salute, Sean Myers, NBBC. Salute. Come on now. Shoot your questions and let me knock them out the park. Where's Bias Boxing Ego? I'm sure he's still at the Popeyes drive-thru. Come on now, let's keep going. He says PBC offered me $100 to watch Charlo. I'm sure they did. They need somebody to watch Charlo. They need somebody to pay attention to this dude because he got to buy viewers at this point. William Calhoun, how do you feel about the fight between Logan Paul and KSI? The rematch. You know, I mean, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to report on it. I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to give it a chance. It's nothing but an event. It's not a true boxing match. It's just an event. So hopefully we get a good, entertaining show. Absolutely right. They will say Canelo cherry-picked Jamal Charlo after he knocks him out. That's exactly what's going to happen because Jamal Charlo doesn't have the foot movement to get away from all those shots. He's eventually going to get stopped. Isaac says, IBFP is creating a zombie fan base. What's your opinion on that? What do you mean? What do you mean? Speak on it. Let's talk. Let's debate. Brian, how am I biased? How am I biased? How am I biased? First of all, Brian, you need to take off your janitor's uniform before you come at me. Before you come and call me biased, take off your janitor's uniform and step up to the plate and tell me how am I biased, bro? How am I biased? How am I biased? Give me a fact. Take off your janitor's uniform and give me a fact. Let's go, Brian. Let's go. You called it. You said you wanted it. I need your comment right now. Come on. Come on, Brian. Come on now. Brian, look at Brian. Brian, put the broom down and step up. I'm waiting to hear from you. See, this is what I'm saying. You can make a disrespectful comment, but you can't step up and say what you mean. Give me a fact. How am I biased? See, these dudes don't want to give you the truth. Brian step in here and say anything, but he won't back it up with a fact. Back it up with a fact. Tell me how I'm biased. Come on now. You see, I want all the smoke. I want all the smoke, Brian. Put the janitor's uniform down. Look at Brian. Even on his picture, he got headphones with the wires. They got wireless headphones now. I guess they don't allow janitors to wear those. Come on now. Come on, Brian. Step up. You can come get this one. You said I was biased, and then you disappeared from the chat. Let me find out Brian is Boxing Ego's cousin. Let me find out Brian is Chocolate Giddy Up. Let me find out that's what these dudes really are. Let me find out. Because you really don't want to smoke. You just in here to throw brash statements. Because when I call you out, you can't even tell me how I'm biased. Now you searching for answers. You don't know what to do. Come on now. I'm not finna play with you, bro. Bro, you'll get the respect if you back up your claims. Back up your claims, Brian. Brian, I'll tell you what, Brian. You're going to be classified as an absolute troll at this point because you have no facts. We're talking boxing. So if I'm biased on a boxing topic, call me to the table. I'm bringing that same energy that I always bring. Come on, Brian. Brian, I'm waiting. That's what I thought, Brian. You scared of the smoke. You came in here, you said I'm biased, and then the first thing you do is you start touching your ankles for the new media, the PBC, and all these other guys. Because I don't subscribe to that agenda, that's what you do. Come on now. These LDBC dudes don't want them. I'm your worst nightmare. You don't understand. I don't come to, see, you come to my job. You come to my job when I'm talking this. I'm the IBFP. I talk boxing. So you come to my job and call me biased, but I don't come to your job and slap the broom out your hand. Don't see. I respect your job. Respect mine. If you're gonna call me a fanboy, come speak on it. Let's go. Let's go. Salute to Tim W. Tim W, a real one. Salute. Come on now, Brian. Step outside. I know you're at your grandma's house. Step outside and see if she'll let you talk. Come on now. Come on now. These dudes don't want it. These dudes does not want it. See, look, Brian ain't been back yet. Brian ain't been back yet. Brian is not been back yet. See, I don't come to your job and slap the broom out your hand. Don't come to my job and call me biased. If you're going to call me biased, back it up. Back it up. Back it up. Back it up, Brian. Where are you? See, this is the problem. These dudes get in their feelings and they start disappearing. Brian is hyperventilating in the corner somewhere. That's what I'm talking about. Brian said he'll debate me in 2021. So you on that arrow spin stuff. You say, I'll fight him in a few years. I'll debate him in a few years. I don't want to debate him right now. You see, I get on here and debate anybody. This is what we do. This is what he do. See, he called me out and then he got put on blast. Do not mention my name unless you really want to smoke. Because I know there's fanboys right here in the chat that's watching. That's probably gave me a thumbs down. Well, step in the chat and come tell me why. Come on now, Brian. Tell me why. Come on now. Come on, Brian. Tell me why. You don't want to smoke? Hold on. JB says his 10-minute break at Wendy's was up. That makes sense. It got to get back to work, Brian. Sorry, Brian. Had to get back to work. Got to get back to work. That's what it is. Oh, my goodness. Brian was taken out by a Popeyes employee. See, this is the problem, Brian. You don't want the real smoke. You don't want the smoke. This is Smoke City. Salute to Ricardo from Fort Worth. Shout out to Fort Worth, Texas. Salute. Salute, my brother. Salute. These guys don't want the real smoke. These guys don't want the real smoke. They don't really want it. They just talking. Brian does not want the real smoke. That's all I'm saying. Because if you said I'm biased, and I was just waiting on it. Salute Intangible Boxing. Thanks for stopping through. Brian, break at Wendy's was up. He don't want no smoke. Anybody else that wants some smoke, step into the chat. Step into the chat. This is free smoke right now. Come get this free smoke. Come get this free smoke. Because we're not going to play with anybody. They say I'm biased. They say I'm this. They say it's a narrative. Oh, there's another fanboy we got to call to the table. Weather Day. Weather Day came in And Weather Day said, you know, IBFP, you're biased against black fighters. Okay, Weather Day, I gave you the time, I gave you the place, I gave you when the debate was on, and you're not stepping up. Where are you, Weather Day? Step up. Where are you? Step up. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. These guys don't want the true smoke. They don't want the truth. That's what I'm saying. These guys don't want it. These guys don't want the facts. These guys don't want the facts. A crackhead says, Nuke, in one of your videos, you said Ruiz first knockdown of AJ came with a hit behind the head. In the highlights, it can clearly see it was to the temple. If I was wrong, my bad. I admit it. I know he hit him in the back of the head at some point, but if I was wrong, my bad. Salute for doing your research, my brother. I thought I saw a shot to the back of the head initially. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Salute. I got to give everybody credit. I got to give everybody the truth. And if you come to me with a fact, I'll respect it. I'll respect it. I respect it. I respect the facts. Come on now. Come on, Brian. Anybody. These guys don't want it. Brian is hiding out in Ego's beard. Let me find out. Let me find out. Ego versus IBFP is 2080. You know what, Dominique? It looks like me and you ain't got no more problems, man. It looks like you don't got no issues right now. I respect that then. Because you know what? But you got to be honest, Dominique. Ego versus me is 0 to 100 because I'm going to destroy it. He don't want to smoke. He does not want to smoke. He does not want to smoke. Salute to the entire UGC, True Media. Salute to Mr. IOTBA. Salute to Speak Your Mind Sports Talk. Respect. Anybody that wants to smoke, step in right now because we got the time to do it. Come get the smoke, or these guys don't really want it. Come on. These guys don't really want it. A crackhead. Always respect, my brother. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know, it is what it is. No one gets it right 100% of the time. Everybody makes a mistake. Ego is hiding out at Brandon's mama's. I'm sorry. Ego's holding Brian right now with his grandma. That's right. He says, best fight the best versus IBFP is the battle of the century 50-50. No, that ain't no 50-50 fight. Best fight the best gets bodied. He gets destroyed. He gets destroyed. He doesn't stand a chance. He does not stand a chance. You know why he doesn't stand a chance? Because he doesn't bring facts. He has no facts. You got to bring facts. Come on now. And you know, I see Jim Calhoun on literally every video. But the one time I'm doing a live stream, the guy never shows up. Never shows up. Jim Calhoun is Ego. Now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. No wonder this dude is so salty. Now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. Who is calling Ego knowledgeable? If anybody think Ego is knowledgeable, we can debate right now. Come on now. Let's be honest and unbiased. Salute, T-Tone. I appreciate it, my brother. Salute. Salute, my brother. Salute. We'll be back after the fights. And I got to tell you this. You know, if we're going to be honest and unbiased about the whole situation, you know, we got to be real on these guys. Don't want to talk boxing. They just comment section warriors. These guys are comment section warriors who doesn't want to talk real boxing, who does not want to debate real facts. And they only want to talk that trash. Come on now. Come on. Let's go. These guys don't want the truth. Ego is the Wendy Williams of boxing. That's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. Correct. He don't really want it. He don't really want it. You know, I appreciate everybody joining the live stream. We'll have more. Salute. If you don't know, the IBFP is sponsored by Go Beats Mode. Subscribe to Go Beats Mode on YouTube. I'll make sure I put the link in the comment section. I'll make sure that it's on my channels tab. Go subscribe to Go Beats Mode Beats. It's real dope. I appreciate everybody for coming in. Israel, Junior, Ruby, salute. Salute, Richie. I appreciate it. Wasi, salute. Everybody, I appreciate everybody coming in. Barker Raider, salute, my brother. Salute. I appreciate everybody coming in, but you know, I appreciate that. Support the IBFP. Go subscribe to Beats Modes Beats. It's going to be in the comment section, and it's also going to be on the channels tab. Salute. Until then, salute my people. We're out.